Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to this webinar where we today will look into the how to work with PIM. I will try to give you an overview of working with Dynamicweb PIM and also try to indicate what is the must-have functionalities you should focusing on when you should considering a PIM solution. I am the speaker of today. My name is Søren Jensen. I'm the product manager of the PIM solution in Dynamicweb. And the next 40 minutes, I will try to bring you through some of the functionalities in this system. Now, Dynamicweb PIM is a part of the all-in-one platform. The all-in-one platform from Dynamicweb consider both integration frameworks and consider content functionalities, marketing and e-commerce functions. So the all-in-one platform is a business digital platform that can be used for all these communications. My agenda have these 4 points. The first one, I will just bring you into, you can say, if you're considering a PIM solution, why you probably are doing that. Then I will dive into some of the processes with workflows. I will dive into the product informations, enrich tools we have. And finally, I will go in and show some of the integrations, methods, and formats you can bring out the product data. Now let's begin with the question, why? Why considering a PIM solution? Well, there could be different reasons for that. Some of them could be you as a user want to enrich more complex content on your products, maybe add more assets to your product, so you need more control of it. It could also be there's an expansion of the amount of products or amount of markets you want to dedicate the products to and distribute the product to. It could also be a wider channel of distributions where you maybe want to distribute your product information to a partner network or maybe to other users of your products or selling points of your products. And finally, there could also be because of you are going to upgrade your ERP solution. Now, in the last couple of years, many companies have upgraded their ERP solutions, and they find out that some of this customization they have made in their ERP is not possible to upgrade to a newer version. There could be different reasons for that, but that could sometimes be very expensive and maybe not possible. So, independent of what the reasons are for considering a PIM solution, they all typically start with try to get an overview of the current data. Get an overview of the current processes or get a full picture of what are going on in the company, how are we handling and treating product informations. Now, there could be many things to be aware of, but one of them is, of course, where do we get our information from? There will typically be an integration for the ERP solution because the ERP solution is typically the main product lifecycle management. That means it starts in the ERP solutions and it dies in the ERP solution. But there can also be other data sources that could be necessary to look into. Then, of course, there could be integration to other solutions as well. But at the end, what you have enriched all your product informations, you want to distribute these informations to different channels. That can, of course, be an e-commerce channel. That could be, yeah, of course, B2B, B2C, but that could also be maybe to a catalog production or maybe to another marketplace. That could be Amazon or eBay or whatever. So when you have the complete product enrichment, you may want to use them to different variants of channels to distribute your data. Now, when you have got all these things in control, and you have made the integration to your sources, and you have your distribution channels set up, and set up the roles for the different people that should enrich your products, well, basically, you can then lay back and say, well, then these things are running in a setup workflow. Now, because I mentioned this workflow is because this is one of these must-have functions a typical PIM system should contain. So if we look into these handling of products, we must-have functions, we can say that there are three main areas a PIM solution should service the company with. Well, one of them is, of course, to get the full overview and control of the products that are in a process of enrich and be ready for public to be published. The third one is, of course, there are tools to enrich the products. I mean, you could go in and enrich products fields by fields, but there should also be some setup and fields logistics that you could set up fields to be inherited across languages and maybe get inherited across variants. And then, of course, there should be tools for make the data integration both for the sources of product informations, but also for the distribution of the product informations. Now, I will dive into some of these, or into these three areas and try to point out some of the must-have functionalities in these three areas. So let's begin with the first one. How do we get an overview of our products or the different processes? There could be different ways of doing that. You can, of course, place your products in a logical structure, and then you can just walk around the structure and maintain your product informations and these things. But if you want to work smart with product enrichment, you should set up a simple workflow. Now, sometimes people think that workflows, oh, that's very difficult, it's complicated, and it involves a lot of different people, but they don't have to be so. You could look at the workflow by looking at the activity steps. Now, mainly, if a company look into how do we handle and maintain our product informations, maybe in a manual way, you will typically could sit down, drawing on a paper, and point out these activity steps you go through for enrich your products. Now, mainly, if you take up here at the top, you can see I have these 8 activity steps saying newly created. That means it's maybe get created from the ERP system, verify the content. Well, verify that the content and the information from the ERP system are correct and fulfilled. Then you can start a process of adding technical specification, graphic, add the graphics. That could be drawings, that could be product images, and then you go maybe through more marketing-related steps. That could be enrich the soft text, the description, the metadata fields for the SEO optimization, and maybe over to the translations steps. And at the end, you'll maybe go through an approval verification, and then at the end, distribute to the needed channels. Now, basically, these 8 steps is just 8 activities. I have down here just wrote a little bit about what are the activities in the different steps. But at the bottom, you can see I try to show you the workflow states I have implemented in my demo system. I will show for you a little bit later on. There, compare these steps into workflow states. So basically, I have taken these 8 steps and put them into 5 different workflow states. So it's not related to people that are responsible for the different areas, but more into the activities we have to do on the product enrichment. Now let's take a look at it. This is an example of our overview. At the top, you can see an example of a dashboard indicating how many products are in a certain state. And at the bottom, you can see a screen of the different queries that give me the result of products that are in that particular state. In this one, I have marked my ready for marketing. So basically, this result list of products indicate that these are ready for the marketing stuff to do. And you can see one of the columns with these different colors indicate how complete are the products compared to the rules I have to maintain in the marketing step. So basically the green one are ready compared to the marketing work. So they could take these products and send it to the next step in the activity. Now I'll show that in the demo. Now it could also be that in some of these steps, or maybe the amount of products is so huge. So instead of searching maybe 3,000-4,000 products in this result list, you maybe want them to be organized into a dynamic structure. So that means we can, on the top of a query, add a functionality that you can spread your products into a structure that are depending on your on some of the attributes on the product itself. Again, I will show when we come to the demo system. Now, this is just an example of these steps and activity steps and the workflows that are set up. That one of our users of our PIM system have set up a dashboard that's showing on the monitor, so they can see all the activity steps in an overall view, and to indicate that where are the products waiting for some work to do. And basically there has been arised a competition in between the departments or the people of that we don't want the red boxes, because the red boxes indicate that something are queuing up. You have to do something and prepare it or enrich it or change the error or whatever, and maintain it, enrich it, and send it to the next activity. So a funny and a simple way of get this overall picture of where are the products placed in the enrichment workflow. Now let's go into a live demo. I now switch to the Dynamicweb backend, and I have selected my PIM module down here, and you see on the left-hand side this structure with my dashboard and queries and so on. Now, as you can see in my dashboard here, I have different informations in these counter boxes, and I also have some list boxes that list some of the products. Basically, if I want to see these 5 newly arrived products from the ERP system, I can just click on it and say, these are the 5 products that have come in from the ERP system, and wait for somebody to maintain, verify, and send it to the next activity steps. You can see the completeness indicate they are all green. And that means seen from the data arrived from the ERP system, they are complete and verified completed with these informations. So I just click on this green button, and you can see that I'm verifying for a few simple fields: brand, EN number, name, number, and the price. They are validated and they are correct, and that's indicating that the completeness are green. Now, as you can see on the left-hand side, that I have these different steps, and of course, these steps indicate the different workflow status that are set on the product. Now, instead of typing around in this step, I will just switch to another user, also to indicate that this user have only access to the PIM. So that means this user have been limited to what access they have to the whole system, and also what access does it have to the products. So let's say this user is now a technical person, and the user have to enrich the technical stuff on bikes. So I have 9 bikes waiting in my queue. I click on it, and I have this list of products. As you can see, then no one of these products are ready. They are yellow and red and orange. Now, if you take the product at the top, it's 95% ready or complete. I can click on it and get a list of which fields are missing on this product. As you can see, it's only one, and that's the gear. I click on the product. I can select the field grouping I want to look at, and I can go to my area with the gear inside. Now, let's say this bike has 21 gear. I save it, and now it's switched to 100% because that was the last field I need to fill out. So now all the fields are green. It's 100% completed, and I can select my next workflow state saying that this is now ready for my marketing department. So I just select my marketing, save and close, and my product disappear from my list in the queue. Now, the product showed me that it was 100% finished. So I go to my marketing area here, find the same products as here, and you can now see it's only 24% finished because now the product have moved to another activity step, and this activity step contains another kind of information we need to enrichment. Now we are in the marketing activity now. So if I click on this one, you can see I've set it up to validate on the brand description, my metadata, the SEO keywords, and my teaser text. Of course, there could be other fields as well. There could be the images, there could be whatever. But also look at, compared to the technical guy, because he was only focusing on the English language. In this case, as a marketing user, I'm focusing on the 4 languages. So I'm focusing on the English language, the Danish, Dutch, and the French. And because of that, I'm in this matrix are only 24% finished. So now I could just begin and start working on them and get them enriched, or maybe send them out. I will come to that a little bit later on. But as you can see, these workflows can be very useful compared to where are the products, what are they waiting for? Are we waiting for graphics, product images, or whatever from a photographical people? Or where are the products in the enrichment process? So therefore, a workflow, simple or advanced, I will say this is a must-have functionality in a PIM solution. Other than it could be difficult to have the overview and control of where are the products, what are you going to do with the products, and specific, what are we waiting for to finalize the enrichment of products. Now, as mentioned, it could be that we are working with a lot of products, maybe thousands of products, and they can be a little bit difficult to maintain and search and control these things in a result list. Of course, you can make search across the list, and you can find the things we're searching for. But there are functionality that can go in and say, we can split up the products into a logical structure based on attributes. Now, let me show you a query. It's fashions, as you can see up here, there are 2,475 products in this query, or in this result list. Now, if I should work with this, it can be a little bit difficult to get the overview, but I could take these products. Now it's fashion, and probably you all know that fashions are typically producing and enriched products in seasons. So instead of have a structure based on brands, type of clothing, I maybe want to set a structured query saying that this long list of products I showed here, I want these products to be segmented up to structure like the seasons. As you can see, 2019 summer, 2019, 2020 winter, and so on. I can open this season. I can see I have a next level is based on my gender. There's men, women, and also they are unisex. If I take the men, I have these type of clothing. And I take the women, I have this. And then if I just click down here, you can see this is a filtering of products. So basically, if I down to these products, you can see it's 75% finished. I maybe have to enrich them with some equal information. So I can just select them, bulk edit, or I can go into one of them and start editing and adding the information just to be in here. But as you can see, instead of the long list, result list, I can now navigate through my products through this logical build structure based on attributes on the products. It can of course also be used for other things. In this case, I use it for products, bikes, ready for marketing, split up in brands. It's more simple, but still very useful. So the structured queries is to split up the products into a structure that are more logical and more useful for the investment process. Now let's go back to the PowerPoint and go to the enrichments products. Now the enrichment is also a very important part of a PIM solution. And one of the important things in the enrichment part of it is, of course, that the enrichment process should be easy, and it should maintain possibilities of inherent information. And that could be across languages, that could be across variants or whatever setup you're working with. And that, of course, will give a time optimization. Now, let's look into the different tools we have in our system. Of course, we have the product card enrichment. Basically, that was the one I just showed you when I added the 21 gears on the bike. Also possibility of making bulk edit to products. You can make multi-edit of products. That means you can have a list of products and make editing of these products in a list. And finally, you can import your product information to an Excel sheet. And that's if you want to make an offline enrichment by using a bureau or maybe send it out to other people that should make the translation or whatever. Now, when you're sitting with a product card and make the enrichment, it's quite important that you can organize your fields so the fields are grouped together based on their the meaning of the content. I mean, you can maybe have a grouping of field for dimensions. You maybe can have a group of fields like I have in my bike for equipment. So you typically grouping your fields in a logical way, so it's easier for the user to maintain in an investment point of view. Now, they're also needed to make this multiple updates. That means you can make a selection of products or maybe have a whole product family and say, I need to update all these products with these equal informations. you set the informations and you update all the product at the same time. And that can also be done with images and any kind of things. Then finally, we have this export import with the Excel sheet. Now, that of course needed if you want to send out product informations. You don't want or you don't want to allow the people to log onto the system. You maybe want to handle it by sending out an Excel sheet with all the products and the basic product informations. They enrich or translate it to the different languages if that's the reason, and you get it back and you could just import it again. Now finally, but not less, images. Now, as you may know, images is a quite important asset, or maybe the most important content on the product. I mean, who want to look at an e-commerce site on products without an image today? You need images, and you need maybe not one image, but a lot of images. So we have in our image handling a setup where you can define images that can be inherited across languages, inherited across variants, and you can maintain the images, how they should be inherited, or should they be merged or fall back or whatever. I will show that in the demo. So let's switch back to the live demo. Let's go into the workflow stage here and just show that if I take this product card, you can see that product cards is trying to show you all the product informations in one page. Now, that's more or less impossible because there are typically a lot of fields, both across languages, but maybe also across variants. So therefore, you need a way of selecting which group of fields do I want to look at. So as you can see here, I can go to my visible fields. I have two group of fields, basically three group of fields, all fields, but that's all fields. And then I have marketing fields. That means I have a group of fields that are related for the marketing work. And then I have a technical fields that of course are related to the technical part of the arrangement. So basically I can have this drop-down list of different grouping of fields, select them and make what I have to do. Now, as you can see, I have an overview of all my images here, and they can be shown related to or adhere to different languages, and I can just turn on my languages, and you can see that they're just adding in columns. And if you have a big screen, you can of course have more languages across the screen. Now, that was the product card. Now I'll now try to show you or bring you with me in a journey of how can you enrich products. Now I go back to my dashboard and you can see I have one of my boxes here saying that product enrichment. Basically, these are products that are coming to a state that are ready for enrichment. So basically now I could take these products and say, well, I need to send out these products to be enriched with the translation at a bureau, and then want to maintain these things in an Excel sheet. So I can just select the products, export them, I just generate the Excel sheet here. Come here, and there you can see these informations I have exported. Now when the bureau are finished, we maybe get the Excel sheet back. I can just go up and say import it, and select the file to import, and like this, and it will indicate for me that these fields are correct related to the field type in the system. I can define which language I want to import and then can just import it. So a fast and easy way of taking a list of products, send it out for investment in an Excel sheet and get it back. And we have the control of which products and which languages should be updated with these informations. Now, we may also need to upgrade some of these informations with equal information. So I can again select them all, say bulk edit, and say I want to update the field called brand, and maybe my field called format. I could also take the gender. This is just an example, but I could also take the gender. So you can see that I can select this is all products are for men. The brand are DW for dynamic web, and the format is maybe slim fit. Then I just say save and close, and all the products will now be updated with these information. Now, sometimes it's needed to put products in together into one family. Now, that could be maybe these four here, where we have a helmet with 4 different colors. So it could maybe be useful to combine these into one main product where we have these 4 variants. But it could also be the Terry. Make a search. I want to take these 4 products. It's nothing to do with colors. It's just an illustration there are on each of these saddles. I can say combine the products. Come here. I will create it as a family. I say next. I'll take some information from my master and save. Now you can see that these 4 products, Terry products, are now brought into one product family. If I open it, you can see that each of the products are placed down here. Now, this is very useful if you're working with products that can be grouped as families, because the enrichment can be quite faster, quite easier, because you maybe have equal informations and maybe equal images. Now, let's make an example. I have now just changed the name on my main product. I want to add some images to it, so I can just say images, and I want to add these images, so I can just take them here. So now I have images or graphics that are matching Terry in one or another place. Now I can then say, I select this one, I select this image, and this drawing, and maybe this event image. I select them. I put them into the correct categories. There we go. And I want to set this image as my default image. There we are. So as you can see, these 4 images are, with my setup of my handling of assets, automatically inherit across all the languages. But it's also inherit across all my variants. And basically, these are my single products. So if I want, on this variant, want to add the correct image, there we are. There we are, Raji. Then I just save, just have to set it to my default, save it, and then you can see all variants, or across all languages for this particular variant, are now switched to this image. But we still contain these drawings and these event images. So these are the rules you can set up on the images and make it easier to maintain assets on your products. So when these things are finished, you can see they're growing out to 81%, so we're still missing a part of it. But then they could be ready for enrichment. for publication. So basically, when this one is finished, we could go in and say ready for publication. I know it's not 100%, but we just continue with that. So now I'm finished with the enrichment part, and it's now in my publication area. And now there may be people coming in and say, we now need to distribute them through a certain channel. So I can select the products, or maybe a couple of products, and saying, I want to publish them to channel in my maybe e-commerce as offers, and maybe to my partner shop in bikes, and maybe to my printing catalog in the main catalog in the section for bikes. So basically, I have just related the product now, these three products, to these three channels and finalize it. So that means the products are now available in these channels. That would be my next step. So that was a journey of how an enrichment process could have been done from more or less the beginning to the end, and to publish the product to the channels. So let's go back to the PowerPoint and look at the last one, the last point in the agenda, data distribution with using of channels and feeds. Now, channels is of course to maintain and control the products. They should go to the different distribution channels or to different areas of where we want to use the product informations. Now, if we take a look into it, some of the channels could be the e-commerce channels. That could, of course, be both B2C or B2B or B2A or what they're all called today. But because these channels are on our all-in-one platform, we are just relating our product to the channels. We don't need to make integration to an e-commerce solution. We can just relate them to the area, to the structure in that particular channel, and it will appear there as soon as you have set active or made published for the channel. So it doesn't matter if you have a product related to maybe the B2C channel, but you maybe also have related it to a B2B channel where you have more information and maybe more assets for downloading for internal people or maybe salespeople or whatever. So you have one place in PIM where you enrich all your informations, but depending on your channel, you can decide which content and which assets should be shown in the different channels. All these things are maintained in our all-in-one platform. And what I'm showing here is using our Rapido front end. Now, if you go to the other type of channels, and that's more handling product information we want to distribute outside the all-in-one platform. Now, the channels are still controlled, so you can, within PIM, visualize and look at the different channels the product are related to. But when we want to distribute the product data to the channel, we of course have a way of setting up feeds you can relate to content in a channel. So that could be, if you take the top one here, channel for catalogs. So the feeds could be an extraction of the products in this structure going to InDesign, maybe plugins in InDesign with Easy Catalog or Cassidy or whatever catalog system you're using. It could also be a partner network where we set up a structure, place the products in the structure, and with that all the attributes. And you maybe want to make feeds that relate to a Sitecore setup or maybe a Magento setup or type of e-commerce solutions you have in your partner network. Finally, of course, you can have a channel going through different marketplaces. Amazon is probably the biggest one. So that could be a setup, a channel setup for maintaining products in a structure that are following the need for the marketplaces in maybe Amazon US, Amazon France, Amazon Germany, and all that kind of things. Most of these feeds are based on XML, but you can also have JSON and CSV and so on if you want. Now let's look at the channel. As you saw, I linked these products into my channel, and if I go to my channel area, you can then see I have an Amazon structure, and the structure for Amazon are of course more or less given because Amazon have the structure and you have to follow the structure to deliver products to their sites. The partner shop channel, I indicate one here called Partner Shop Europe. You can see that I have a structure, a quite simple structure, just saying is it bikes, clothing, components, or whatever. And basically, if you look at this bikes, this is where I put in my products. So there you can see this combined product I just made in the session before. Now, if I now want to extract these informations, I can go to my feeds area. I can define feeds, and I have one called partner feeds, JSON or XML. So if I open this feed, in this feed, I can define all the fields. And this is, of course, typically a setup that have been made from the beginning. And typically, the technical people are setting these things up so it match the feed's need. But if I call this URL in the bottom, you can then see I extract all the products in that particular channel into a JSON feed. This JSON feed contains all the fields and all the information I have set up on the feed that I want to deliver to my partner network. So there could be prices, text, links to images, and whatever kind of information you want to deliver into this network. Now, of course, they could also be XML. So I have a similar feed like this. I just call it, and now I get an XML structure instead. I'm just showing on the screen because it's easier and faster. But as you can see, this is an XML structure containing the same type of information as in the JSON. So you can say the channels are where you relate your product to if you want products to go into a specific channel. The feeds are where you define the format you want, the way you want to distribute your data. So basically, if you have a partner that want to use the XML extraction from the partner channel, they can just call the URL for the XML format. And of course, this format could then be maintained and structured so it will match into Magento or to our e-commerce system or to an API they have in their systems. So that's it. If you want to know more, you can log into our, go into our website. We have a forum site. We have the doc site. You can also see this recording of this webinar and other webinars we have held on PIM. And you can go to our website and read more of our PIM solution and all the other solutions we have in all our modules we have in our all-in-one platform. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.